In this video, we are doing the What a Friend We Have in Jesus Jazz tutorial. This is number 3 in our playlist of 5 videos, typically 10 to 12 minutes each, on how to tackle this swing version of What a Friend We Have in Jesus that I've put together. If you missed videos 1 and 2, please refer back to those videos now because it's in a series and some of the things that I covered you're going to need to finish the final project, which when we get to video 5 is playing with the piano and bass. All right, so we're going to dive in just a second. Right, so in this video, we're going to do the scales that go on top of these chords because we're going to want to solo on this piece. Now, I've written out the lead sheet. In the last video, we discussed all of the chords. Let's now tackle the scales. And if you need more information on how these scales are put together, please refer to the video that I'm going to post up here in the left-hand corner. It is all about the bebop scales and scale patterns. And that's where all of this is coming from. So check that video out. So let's get going from the beginning. We have to start off with an F major 7th chord. So the scale that we're going to play, and remember our chord voicing from the last video is this. And so the scale we're going to play is a bebop scale. Then when you get to the C minor, F7 to B flat 7, that's a 2-5-1 in B major, in B flat major. This is the scale we're going to play, which is also a bebop scale. And then on the F7 chord, it's so even if we just played those scales over top of the chords, it starts to sound a little bit like soloing if you mix the notes up a little bit. Let's try that. Then when we get to the B diminished 7th chord, that scale is whole tone, half tone. So if you, and again, I have a video that I'm going to post up here. It's called How to Handle Diminished Scale Patterns, but it's a whole tone, half tone scale like this. Okay, so that's where that comes from. Then when we get to the A minor 7, we're back to bebop scales again. Now the only difference in this next scale is that we've got a flat 9 in the scale. So what I like to do when I do dominant 7th flat 9 chords is first of all consider the bebop scale, which would essentially be this. But now we've got a flat 9, so it's so there's a lot of notes in there. But a lot of times what I'll do is I'll spell the actual chord with the right hand, like 3, 5, 7 in flat 9. So a 2 minor 7, which is A minor 7 to D7 to G minor 7 might sound something like this. And then when I got to the G minor 7, C7, again, it's just the bebop scale. Okay, so let's play that progression. Basically, A to D to G, C to F is 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. And that's pretty much the A section. You've got A and B, which are the same, and then D section, which is also the same. So it's an AABA structure. Let's tackle the C section now. So we've got a C7 sus chord. So with that, our voicing from the last video was this. So in order to play that, it's essentially this scale. Which is really just an F major 7th chord starting on C. If you wanted to play a bebop scale for that, it would be, because that's the F major 7 bebop scale. Except we're starting on C. Love that C sharp passing note. And then when we get to the C7 chord, it's just a straight bebop scale. And then we've already done an A minor 7th to D7 flat 9. And then the G minor 7th chord we've done before. But this line cliche, over that whole thing, I think you can be pretty safe to just use a G minor 7 bebop scale. And then we're back to the C7 sus chord to C7. All right, so that's pretty much it for the scales. If you wanted to add the blues scale on top, that works really well too. So what I'm going to do is give you an example of bebop scales and blues scales put together. So I ended, most of that was bebop scales, and then I ended with the blues scale. Let's play it with a little music and try to combine those two scales together. Right, so what I did there was I started off just by practicing the scales over top of the chords and throwing in a blues scale every now and then. And then I got to the end of that improvisation, I started to get a little more free with some melodies thrown in and just a little more music, if you will. Because when you just play scales over the chords and you just spell the chords and you just use blues scales, it all sounds very arithmetic-like or contrived. So what you really are trying to do is mix all of that information into a viable solo. So I hope you enjoyed this. In our next video, we're going to start talking about putting the entire solo together with the chords in the left hand, scales in the right hand, and using our backing track. And I'm going to talk about that and what the bass player is doing and what the drums are doing and what the feel is, because that's really important. You've got to get that swing feel, and we're going to tackle that in the next video. My name is Paul Tobey. Thanks for listening. This is a fairly new YouTube channel, and we'd be really grateful if you could give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. So we'll be adding about 5 videos a week, just like this one. The videos are mainly focused on technical skills development, recording tips, and even professional and business development for musicians like you who want some help from a professional musician like myself. So I've toured 17 different countries, made 8 albums, was signed to a really good label, and made a full-time living as a professional artist. So I know and I'm confident that I can be a great resource for you. Subscribe now, and I'll see you in another video.